The Muslim community in India is widely believed to vote against BJP in key elections. But do you know that a caste census could potentially change the way they vote? You must be thinking how caste divides Muslims in India. Hi, I am Shubhanshu. You are watching TOI Bharat, and in this video, we will not only tell you how caste divides Muslims in India, but also look upon how caste census could change India's electoral politics too. Let's break it down. Most people think of Muslims as one monolithic community, but here's the truth. Indian Muslims are divided by caste, just like Hindus, and those caste divisions matter a lot. Roughly 80% of Indian Muslims belong to backward castes, often called Pasmanda Muslims. These include communities like Ansaris, Qurayshis, Mansuris, etc. People who work as weavers, butchers, daily wage earners. They have been socially and economically excluded for generations. Then who dominates Muslim leadership? That is mostly dominated by Ashraf Muslims, upper caste groups like Sayyids, Sheikhs and Pathans. They hold most of the influence in religious boards, political representation, media and civil society. When caste data officially confirms that a huge majority of Muslims are from backward castes, it could open the floodgates. The demand for power sharing within the community will only grow. If the data officially shows how many Pasmandas there are, it will be hard to ignore the imbalance anymore. It becomes proof, hard government verified proof, that most Muslims are being led by a small elite. Let's talk Bihar's caste survey as an example. It found that nearly 74% of Muslims belong to backward castes. That's huge. And yet, when you look at who gets party tickets, who appears on TV debates, or who controls community institutions, it is not the Pasmandas. This is why the caste census could lead to a political churn. Pasmanda voices may start demanding their share in leadership, in welfare schemes, in party positions, and that could fragment what's often seen as a Muslim vote bank. So what happens next? Let's start with the BJP. The BJP has already been trying to woo Pasmanda Muslims. The idea is simple: divide the Muslim vote and chip away at the opposition's core voter base. But here is the BJP's problem. If the caste census leads to caste consciousness, it could also undermine Hindutva, because Hindutva depends on projecting Hindus as a united group. But backward caste Hindus, who form a huge chunk of BJP support, might also start demanding more representation, more share in jobs, more power. And if Hindu OBCs and Pasmanda Muslims realize they are fighting the same battle for dignity, education, representation, they might start uniting. That could hurt the BJP's polarization strategy. Now let's talk about the opposition. For decades, parties like Congress, RJD, Samajwadi Party and TMC have relied on Muslim votes. These parties often claim to represent minorities, but within that, they have usually favored the elites, those with better access, education and networks. What the caste census will do is force these parties to confront inequality within the Muslim community. For example, in Bihar, the RJD has long enjoyed support from both Yadavs and Muslims. That is also true for Samajwadi Party in UP and other opposition parties. If Pasmanda Muslims start demanding separate representation, more tickets, more seats and more voice, that could split the Muslim vote, especially in tightly contested states like UP, Bihar and West Bengal. Even Congress, which has talked about caste census recently, will have to walk the talk, because if they continue to hand leadership roles only to well-connected elite among the Muslims, it will be exposed quickly in the post-caste census era. Let's not forget about reservations. Muslims do not get quotas based on religion, but several Muslim communities are already listed as OBCs, both in central and state OBC lists. They are legally entitled to OBC benefits like reservations in education and government jobs. But despite being in the lists, many of them have been underrepresented politically. The caste census gives them a new tool, a new legitimacy, a reason to say, we are the majority within our community, we deserve a seat at the table. This puts both BJP and opposition parties in a tight spot. The BJP has to balance caste realities with its Hindutva narrative. Too much focus on caste can hurt its efforts to build a united Hindu identity, but ignoring Pasmanda aspirations could close the door on Muslim outreach altogether. On the other hand, opposition parties can no longer take the Muslim vote for granted. They will be pushed to rethink their ticket distribution, leadership pipelines, and policy focus. Pasmanda Muslims will ask, why have we voted for you for decades but still remain underrepresented? So, what does this mean for Indian politics? The caste census might redefine political coalitions. New alliances might emerge between Dalits, Pasmanda Muslims, and Hindu OBCs based on shared caste realities rather than just religion. In short, the caste census is not just about data. It is about power, about visibility, about who gets to speak, who gets heard, and who gets left behind. And once that picture becomes clearer, every party from BJP to Congress to regional giants will have to rework their strategies. Because when caste becomes central to the conversation, the old ways of doing politics just won't be enough. For Pasmanda Muslims, this could be the beginning of greater recognition, and for Indian politics, it could be the start of a new era altogether.